Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Kubeir. I am a CICC licensed immigration consultant. And this channel, as you by now already know, is all about Canadian immigration news, updates, things you should do and things you definitely should not with regards to your Canadian immigration application. A lot of you who are quite concerned that there has been no news about the extension of postgraduate work permit. So as you know, a few weeks back, Minister Sean Fraser came out and made this announcement that the express entry draws will resume in early July. And he also said the people who are in Canada, the international students who have a postgraduate work permit, but those postgraduate work permits have expired or are expiring, they will be eligible or they will be allowed to extend their postgraduate work permits for up to another 18 months. That was the announcement made. However, nothing else followed from there on. And there are a lot of people whose work permits have expired or are expiring, and they're quite anxious as to what's going to happen. So from what we understand, based on another media statement, or rather another statement that Sean Fraser made during his meeting in the House of Commons with the Parliamentary Committee of Immigration and Citizenship Matters, he stated that they will be extending, or they will be making the announcement to extend the work permits for the postgraduate work permit holders in mid-June.
So beginning in mid-June, Canada will extend postgraduate work permits for recent international graduates. Those whose permits have already expired or will expire this year will be eligible for an additional open work permit of 18 months. As well, in July of this year, we'll be ending the temporary pause on express entry draws and resume inviting qualified candidates to apply for permanent residence. Across Canada, processing is going to continue for all of our programs with 100% of IRCC offices and service providers open.
So that is the news that you should be expecting. Mid-June is when the criteria would be available so that you will be able to apply for your extensions for postgraduate work permits. I know at this point of time, the people whose work permits expired after 27th of November until January, that segment or that period of time has not been covered in the announcements. But don't lose faith, don't lose hope. I'm just hoping and praying that those people will also be included in the group of people who will be eligible to apply for extension. But we have to wait for the final announcements to be made, which we are expecting by the first or the second week of June, because following that is when the whole program will come into effect and you will be able to apply for your extensions of postgraduate work permits. So that was the first news. Second was about express entry draws, and they are expected sorry for that. They are expected to be resumed early July, as per the statement made several times now by Minister of Immigration, Sean Fraser. If you are one of those people who is expecting an express entry invitation in the next few months, obviously there has also been this debate about whether you have to be a CEC or whether it's going to be FSW. Again, from the horse's mouth, and the horse here being Sean Fraser, the immigration minister, he was quoted as saying that federal skilled worker and Canadian experience class, both programs would be included in the next upcoming draws that they are expecting to resume early July. So that is another relief for a lot of people who are unsure as to which programs would be considered. But as you know, and I know, these things are always subject to change. So until those happens, we won't know. But for the time being, at least keep your anxieties at bay so that we can put our minds and heads to better things that are at play here. But if you are expecting an express entry draw as an invitation, then obviously I'm hoping that you have already created your express entry profile. Your profile will remain valid for a few weeks or months. If it is already expiring or expired, then I hope you have recreated your express entry profile, because very, very important would be the tiebreakers. That would be a big factor in a lot of people being invited or being left out. Because how tiebreakers work in express entry, and I'm sure most of you already know that, is that the lowest score that is being invited, that is the score that gets affected. That's the first thing. So for example, the first express entry draw, let's say, is at 520. So 521 and above, everybody who is in the express entry pool at the time that the draw is being conducted, they will receive an invitation. It's the people who are at 520 who will have to be concerned about the tiebreaker. So the tiebreaker basically would be that if IRCC has decided they want to invite only 2,000 people, so at the 2,000th number, whatever is the express entry score, that becomes the lowest score. So at that point of time, tiebreaker will apply, and certain people who would have created their profiles after the tiebreaker date, they will not be considered for that draw. So therefore, try and create your profiles at the earliest so that you don't get affected by the tiebreaker rule. Also, make sure your IELTS is valid. If it's not valid, your profiles will expire. If they are going to expire, your IELTS are going to expire, then make sure you do another, or rather you go through another, you take another test so that you are ready with your new exam results, so that your profile again doesn't get affected. Also, if your ECA, Education Credential Assessment, if that is expiring or expired, then make sure you have a duplicate copy done so that you get an automatic extension on your ECA. From there on, be aware of the requirements of the program, because we're not very far away from early July anymore, right? It's just a matter of what, about 45 odd days or less, from actually less than that, 40 days probably, even less if you want to call it. And be aware of what the requirements would be from your documentation. I have a blog post, and I'm going to post this for you here. askkubeir.com/post-ITA. So if you are waiting for your express entry draws to happen, if you're waiting for the invitations to be received, and you're still trying to figure out what documentation you will need, this was a blog post I wrote quite a long time back. So some of it, I don't think it is outdated, because most of those documents are still relevant. But yes, by all means, go check out that link. That will give you the list of all the documents you will need in your application after you receive the invitation to apply. So make sure you have all these documents ready. Make sure you're prepared with all these documents. If some of these documents may take time, for example, your police clearances from certain countries, they can take a lot of time. Have them handy, have them ready, so that you don't face any problems when the time comes, and you do not get hampered by the delays that might occur in getting your documentation. So you can get this as a head start. You can start preparing for this, and then obviously anxiously wait for your draw to happen when it happens, and then you will be absolutely ready to submit your application pronto the minute you get your ITA. So this is one thing that you can do while you're waiting anxiously for the draws to resume. If you haven't still followed us, or if you're not following us on Instagram, please do. We do make a lot of noise there as well. And absolutely don't forget to subscribe to this channel. It's so important to see these numbers going up. Well, once again, thank you so much for joining in. I would do this again next time. And until such time, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you again.